Thank you for your patience.
Without any further delay, I would now like to invite on stage Mr. Vijay Venugopalan. Mr. Venugopalan is the head of CRM and UC practice of BT Advice in Asia Pacific, Middle East and Africa, leading the contact center and unified communication professional services business in all the BT's AMEA markets. He is responsible for consulting, design, build and run managed services. Sir has over 15 years of experience in technical, pre-sales, consulting and delivering of complex contact center and collaboration solutions in Asia Pacific, Europe and emerging markets. During his career, Sir has worked in government and commercial organizations and undertaken roles from pre-sales, consulting and project management for complex ICT programs. An experienced customer experience management and employee collaboration practitioner, Sir works extensively with BT's customers and partners in defining customer experience strategy and technology roadmaps. Sir, your revered presence is an honor for us. May I request Sir to please preside over the session now.
I'm really excited to be here today. I know I'm between you and lunch. Yeah, and when he said that there's going to be another session, I could hear this loud sound, yeah. So actually we want to make you stay hungry, stay foolish, and let's try to do that happen. So, but jokes apart, I firstly want to congratulate and really appreciate the effort put in by the event committee members. It's been a phenomenal job. You guys have put a standing event in front of you. It's really exciting. And I wanted to thank Professor Avinash and Professor Sunil for giving them the empowerment and the excitement to actually make this happen for you. So it's a great event. I really enjoyed the time that I've been here. And what I wanted to do today is a fascinating idea. Simple, it's going to be profound, and it's going to change a lot of things that today actually it's been discussed. And in fact, I thought when Anurag was actually talking about all the problems that the telecom company XYZ was facing, I thought you were going to take the thunder away from me. We almost have a very similar conversation to have, but you actually took a diversion from it, and you completely took a different perspective to the whole thing. So I'm very happy about that. So that my purpose of being here is met. Okay. So before I do all of that, I know you guys are hungry. You're going to be active for this rest of the 30 minutes, but I want to make sure you guys are alert as well. Okay. I'm going to give you a simple trivia. Whoever has got the answer, loud out loud. Yeah. Make it loud. So the question is this, and in fact, you guys have engineers, management graduates, and people like that. I think it's a very relevant question for you guys. Tell me a mouse with 2 legs. Fantastic. Tell me a duck with 2 legs. All legs have 2 legs. Okay, so so good. That you guys are really alert then, yeah? Okay, so I also heard somebody say Donald Duck, yeah? For those of you, the reason for this question is very important. The reason I asked this question is because when I put you guys in a box, okay, you continue to think in that box, yeah? And the illustration of that is just simply demonstrated here. I just asked you one question, and I ask you another question, you get anchored, and you start to think within that box. That's pretty much what all of our businesses are doing today. We've got a legacy of running a business for last, over a period of time. We learn a lot out of that. We continue to innovate within that box itself, and we think we are innovating. And today, what I'm going to talk about is a very profound idea, which is a lot more simple to think about, but it actually has a profound impact in the way we are doing the business. So that's basically where I wanted to share with you. It's an idea worth sharing. I want each one of you to think about it, take it back to your drawing boards, think about how it can be applied in each of your ways of working. If it's a developer, how you can think about doing that in your work. If you're a management graduate going to be a business analyst, how are you going to think about doing that in your organization, yeah? So let's start with this. I think we spoke about in great detail today about 3 things. One is about creating loyalty. I don't know how many of you are going to have a tattoo of Tata or BT. Yeah? I have no understanding of what kind of a cult loyalty Harley Davidson could create for a guy to have a tattoo like that. Yeah, that's loyalty. And we don't have that kind of a loyalty anymore. Yeah, we don't have. Probably I saw one guy actually putting an Apple logo on his phone, and Apple actually changed the logo, and he felt really bad. That's the first part. The second is this. Every single organization, we have heard this a lot of time today, reducing cost is of paramount importance to most of the organizations that we are working today. I work for BT, we've got 80,000 people, we don't know what to do with them. Okay, and that's exactly the same with all the other organizations. I just heard and in a single interview, single day, 2,000 people had been selected by an organization. I have no idea how they're going to use them. Okay, so that's to reduce cost. How are we going to do that? Keep innovating, and how are we going to reduce cost? And the third aspect, this is absolutely important, and that's one of the reasons why I preempted that in the previous point, which is how are we going to use these employees I've got in my organization to put them into productive use so that I can create a customer-centric organization. That's the third part. These are the 3 important aspects organizations are trying to find ways to solve. Okay, you can ask all these delegates here, they've got very similar problems. They might disagree with me, they might be my competitor. But otherwise, all of them have got the same problem. BT had the same problem. And I'm talking about BT in UK. We are like Airtel here. We deliver landline, mobile, broadband. We have sports channels and so on and so forth. And a huge investment we did in network optimization. We put in an optical fiber across the country. We invested $1 billion on that. A lot of investment has been made. How do we cash it out? These are the 3 problems. Now, we were searching for this holy grail, like a lot of other organizations are searching for. We've continuously been searching, how do I fix this problem? I think I have an answer to that, okay, today. Let's see how it goes. For that, I want to take you back in time, where it all started, so that I make sure that you come out of the box, like the way we did, to realize where the solution stands, yeah? These are the technologies that change the world. Today we are here. Any one of us who's not using one of this, I'll be very surprised. You must be in the jungle. Otherwise, you must be using this, yeah? And then what happens? Steve Jobs came along, empowered all of us, gave us a lot of stuff for us to use, yeah? And then Twitter came along, Facebook came along, connected all of us together, and just made what out of us? So we kind of adapt to technology from the day we are born, okay? And it is such a pleasure for my grandparents to actually log into Facebook and Twitter to monitor what I'm doing. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have got the same problem. Just cannot type something in Facebook. So you have 2 accounts. One for parents, another one for friends, yeah? I know that. Second is taking control. That's very, very important aspect. Each one of you not just use these devices to chat. You're taking control of the interaction. Let's find out how you do that. But before we go into that, you guys are now saying, come on guys, catch me if you can. To all the people like me who are trying to fix problems that the customers have got, yeah? So it's very difficult. Now let's go back and think about what really has happened in our organizations. Okay, this is how your consumers have evolved over a period of time. I'm going to step back and find out what happened to my organization, why we are doing all this, and why we are finding it so difficult to engage with you guys. How do I make you excited and happy to do more business with me, right? We started 20 years ago with a small call center, 1 PBX. some 20 people. Basic questions. Sir, how do I connect my new phone? Okay, this is the way. Okay, fine, thank you very much. And now, because these guys started using iPads, iPhones, we decided to have multi-channel. Okay, let's put some email, chat, phone, and just make them all connect with us in multiple ways possible, and we just engage with them and freak out. That's great, right? But that's not, it's not there yet. That's what we created for ourselves. You know, when I walk into my data center, it's like a mess. Hundreds of servers, computers, nobody knows what it does. Sometimes, in fact, I'm confused as to what actually I can do with them, you know. So it's very difficult. And this is exactly the same with many organizations I'm working with. And I work only with multinationals, chief information officers, chief execs of multiple organizations. And I just go and ask them, so what do you want to do next? And really, they're also saying, I don't know. I'm also finding an answer to that. And that's because of the mess we have created. Now what we do is this. This is the most interesting part in an organization. You're going to face this anyway, you can't escape. That's what is this. So every single employee now, do more for less. I've got all the servers for you. Why don't you make it more efficiently? Why don't you answer the calls faster? Why don't you make customers delighted? Why don't you do that, this? And the guy finally is like this. You know, how am I going to manage this? Yeah? So then, you know, we had to take a step back and find out how we can solve this problem. And then we come to a point where what the end result is looking like. On one side, we have got consumers who are actually wanting more from an organization. They want them to do business in their demand. They want them to do it in the time they want. They want to do the business in their own devices, the style at which they want. On the other side, I've got an old laptop, and with that I can't do anything much, you see. And this is the same thing with every single employee in my organization. Not just me. In any organization you go into, we can't have the latest devices because it's got a lifetime for its own. You know, I changed my laptop at personal level for 2 years once, but in an organization I need to minimum use it for 3 years. So, you know, it all add up to actually make it a lot more complex for us to innovate very quickly, right? So that's where we are. But the reports are fantastic. So if you go and ask a customer service organization, so how do you think? 80% of the customers are saying we're very, very delighted. And then we did a research. So we will go and do a research and find out what happened. Only 8% agreed. So that's basically where the demand gap is, right? On one side, we think we are doing great. On the other side, the customers are saying, no, you're not. Okay. That's actually creating such a huge imbalance. On my side, on consumer side, on the organization side, we've got these clunky systems that I need to manage and use, and subsequently use and innovate at the speed at which the consumer wants us to do business with, yeah? So that's a big gap. I think you established that very clearly. We were not alone. So I thought, you know, I had this problem, and I went around looking for people who are doing the same thing. It's a crowded market, man. Everybody has got the same problem. Now we wanted to find out a framework where there's any which way we can solve this problem. That's where we really wanted to start. And let's forget about all these boxes that we've got, the people we've got, the technology we've got, the problems we've got. Let's step out and see where it goes. Hence, we started with a huge research. Before I go into that, while you guys are laughing, and you know, I'm kind of giving a very interesting story about what happened to me, I look very composed and ruffled in front of you, but that actually is what's happening. Yeah, I'm paddling, trying to solve this problem. It's not easy. Now let me give you the scale of the operation we are in. So BT UK, as I told you, it's a mobile broadband. We started TV. It's a BT Sport channel, and we've got a lot of customers. We spend about 200 million pounds on an annual basis in servicing our customers. In fact, we've outsourced a lot to India. We've got 7 call centers in India, which takes care of our customers' calls in the UK. So, a lot of your friends actually are faking as if they are British people with their British accent, yeah? So that's very common. And, the amount of processing we are doing on a daily basis is massive. We've got something like 80 million bills going out. We've got about 12 million customers. It's quite complex as an organization. And Britain's is so complicated. There are 60,000 people who actually have crossed age 100 last year. And we've got early boomers. So we're kind of spreading this customer base from 100 years age for how I'm going to cater to them to a 10-year-old who actually is calling us from iPad and talking to us. Okay, so how do we cater to this needs of a brand, broad demographics? We started to search. Really, we seriously want to find a problem solved at one way or the other. And we don't want to make it a program, simple program, okay, let's delight customers, let's go and give them some new tips and ideas, right? That's not working for us. So we did a research. So we wanted every single person walking, people who have got phones in their hands, people who have got mobile laptops and desktops who are using our broadband services. We went and asked them, so what you guys are looking for? Okay? And we did it in a more structured way, obviously. Okay, tell me what your problems are. Nobody is going to tell me what that is. So we're going to specifically ask them what we wanted to know from them. Okay? So we did this. So one obvious thing was, loyalty is the thing of the past. BT, brand, come on, can't do that. Okay, so then the second thing was, I never have enough time. That's because we spend more time on the phone and, we've got so many diversions in our lives. We just don't have time to do business with people. If I ask you to go and withdraw money from a teller and you need to stand in the queue, you'll be given a token. I don't think you're going to have a bank with them. You want an ATM machine, that too near your doorstep for you to go and collect the cash when you want. So I have no enough time. Of course, there are other things that you can read about, which are quite interesting as well. So if I, BT, as a company, put something on the internet, and I say, this is what we want to do, you say, I don't believe in that. Let me go into forum and find out whether this is true. But I am telling you, I'm going to do that to you. No, I will not believe you. So people don't believe their own original sources of the business from which you are actually doing business with. You want to actually go and test and check with somebody else whether it's really working. Okay, so that's the way we are. And then we came to this article. This was in 2010, again going back exactly to the point when Anurag said, the company had the same problem. We exactly had the same problem at that time. We actually had a declining market share. We actually had significant competition who has cropped in. There's so much of mushrooming happening in the industry. There's somebody who actually just started with 10 people, started selling SIM cards in UK. And so it's very difficult to sustain in this market. So we went and asked, we found this article, we actually stumbled upon it. Somebody just forwarded it to us and we looked at it. It says, stop delighting your customers. Just don't do that. It's not going to work. Probably what can work is reducing their effort. That means if I make you spend less time to do business with me, you probably will stick with me more. It is a profound thought if you think about that. Okay, it's really, I'm having goosebumps. It is a fantastic idea that we need to actually apply it in action. How can we make such a mammoth business organization to actually make things easier for a customer to do business with me? It's a very profound idea. Then we took it, it's a good idea, let's go and test it in the marketplace. So we went and asked the customers, how easy is it for you to do business with BT? Simple question, right? You're going to say, very difficult, easy, whatever that is. Then we started to plot a graph. We've been perennially tracking a lot of customer service satisfaction events. I don't know how many of you know about CSAT. Have you heard of CSAT? Customer satisfaction, right? So I'm going to ask you a question. How satisfied are you with my transaction that you just did with me? Super hard. Hard. Okay. Really easy. Really, what is that? Hard to sort of satisfied. Super satisfied. The guy is confused. he just puts randomly something and then sends it across. So we got this plotted. And then we took net promoter score. How many of you know what is net promoter score is? There's only one person, so I need to explain. 2, 3, 5, 10. Okay, it's 10% of the audience, okay? Don't feel bad. I'm giving it to you. So net promoter score is basically redefining this question into asking you another question, which is this. It's more psychological, this question is. Would you recommend my product or service to your friend or a colleague? That's what I would ask you. Okay? The question is great. Actually, psychologically, you will say yes only if you like my product or service. That means you're liking to do business with me. Is that correct? Okay, that's a fantastic question. But the problem with that question is the response. I give you an 11-point scale. 0 to 10. Rate me. There I get confused. Oh my God. Now, should I put 6? Can I put 7? What? So it's difficult, right? So you put some answers to me. Now I take all that answers and I started to plot into a graph. So Sunita from that side, Anurag from this side, all of you guys have given me a lot of scores. And I kind of roll it up to find out whether you guys have said you're going to do business with me or you're saying you're not going to do business with me. And then finally deduce my market brand value. If it's net negative, after summing up all the scores, 60% of the people have said, I don't want to do business with you. 40% of the people have said, I want to do business with you. That means my brand in the marketplace is minus 20%, which means it's going to deteriorate over a period of time. You're going to get away from me. Very clear. The one challenge I said is a scale. The second one is, who would you ask this question? So we randomly pick people, and we ask that question. So you gave me a score of minus 20%. I don't know what to do with it. If I go turn to my organization and I say, hey, make my brand promotable, you tell me how many people will give me good ideas? Let's make our brand promotable. Tell me ideas. Nobody's going to give you answers. That was another problem. And so we plotted it, as you can see, correlation with repurchase and increased spend. We said, how many people who are telling me that they're going to do business with me or not to do business with me has potential to do more business with me or not? That is what I'm finally after, right? I want to reduce churn, increase my revenue, reduce cost. That's all I want to do. I just couldn't do it with this. But with easiness, when I ask you, how easy is it for you to do business with me, and you tell me something, whether it is difficult or easy, I could directly correlate and say you're going to buy more from me at some point in future, or you're going to stick with me for longer. Even if you're not buying more, you continue to buy what are you buying for a longer period of time. And this was the most powerful revelation, this graph. Okay, it said, Vijay, you know what? The tattoo guys are one side of the table, but if you make it very difficult, people are going to tell more people that it's very difficult to work with you. That means they're going to pull more customers out of you. So it's a call for action to say you need to make it easy for people to do business with you. Is that clear or not? Am I making sense here? Yeah? You're with me? I know you're hungry, but yeah? Okay. So that was very important. Next slide, I really want you guys to give me full attention to what I have to say, yeah? This is powerful establishing the fact that easiness is very, very important. Now let's step aside and find out how to identify whether it is easy or difficult. How do I ask you this question? I told you the problem we have in asking you the Net Promoter Score question. I'm giving you a long scale, yeah? You also get intimidated. You don't know what to say. We want to make it easy. We want to ask you an easy question. So we wanted to find out how much effort a customer puts in doing business with a company like BT. That's what we are after now. If I can reduce that, you're going to be happy. That means you're going to buy more from me. Fantastic. The challenge I have is, let's take an example. I have a budget airline ticket with me. Okay? AirAsia, for example. Not AirAsia exactly, but just giving an example. I buy a ticket from them to fly to Bali. And then I want to make a change to the ticket. I call the airline call center. They put me in the queue for 4 minutes, and then they answer my phone, and then take 4 minutes to resolve my transaction. 8 minutes, done. Now I have a premium airline ticket with me, like Singapore Airlines. I want to change the flight ticket. I call the call center. I take about 4 minutes to reach out to an agent. The agent takes 4 minutes to complete my transaction. Again 8 minutes. But guess what my experience is? I felt really happy that Tiger Airways or the AirAsia took only 8 minutes to solve my problem. Whereas I was very disappointed that Singapore Airlines took 8 minutes to solve my problem. Why? Because I've set different expectations, right? When I think about AirAsia, I think these guys don't care about me. Yeah, they just want you to buy the ticket and bugger off, not come back again. Yeah, you fly, you don't fly, I'm not bothered. You've bought the ticket. Whereas this company, which is a premium airline company, they say, I'm expecting some more love from them. Oh, take the call immediately. Sir, please tell me, you know what? So, again, both of them taking 8 minutes just doesn't cut it. So, the number of minutes that I spend to do a transaction is not important. What is important is the perception of an individual as to what he thinks about the brand, right? That's a very important information for us. That's the biggest nugget for us to learn to actually design the question. Now let's go to the next. So we just go and ask a very, very simple question to them. How easy is it to do business? How easy is it for you to get a work done from BT? Okay? And we just give you 3 choices only. Easy, difficult, neither. Now I look at the question, okay, difficult. Okay, easy, yeah? Now I roll up the numbers. I find out 60% of the people have said it's easy, 60% have said it's difficult, 40% have said it's easy. Now I take the information, find out what the net easy score is for me, which is minus 20%. That means I'm net difficult for customers to do business with me. That's a very important information for me. You know why? As it is, that information is not just enough for me. I now need to go and do what is very, very critical for the success of implementing this project, which is net easy. That is to take that information that is gathering feedback from one side and then integrate that information into the whole customer history. So this particular customer has called me 25 times and he had asked for so many products and then he has bought so many things from me and now he is finding it difficult to do business with me. Now I roll up the entire database of hundreds of thousands of records. Integrate every single person's information, his age group, profile of the person, where he is living, what products he has bought from me, everything else with his net easy score, which is whether it is easy or difficult for him. Now I've got a huge database of information, right? Like expounding communication discussion we had, how to use this data is more important than having a data. Actually, collecting data is absolutely easy. So selling data is worthless. How to use the data is powerful. That's why analytics companies are making more money than actually companies like me who has got data. Okay, so let's go. So it's now important for me to slice the data in the way I want to make reasonable information out of this. Yeah? So let's call this lenses. Okay? So I go with this lens and go into my database and I look it through a single slice. Let's take age group profile of 13 to 20 people, age group. What are they saying about BT? Difficult. Oh my God, it's very important for me. You know why? They're going to be my customers for the next 25 years. I'm making it difficult for them. That's going to be definitely not. I'm going to die. I need to do something about it, right? So it's clear. Similar to that, we need to look at from product perspective. So let's put the lens on the product. Which product is difficult for customers? Which reason for contact is very difficult for customer? Somebody might say, calling you, so difficult. You know what? I'll do it through social media. Easy, for example. So we need to learn all this information and make sense out of it. And now, once I look at it through all these lenses, yeah, you are with me? We have now seen through the lenses. We've got information about the profile of people and what they are doing and whether they're saying it's easy to do business with me or it is difficult. I've taken this information. Fantastic. Now what I'm going to do is this. Put all this information on one side. Now, I told you, it is to reduce cost, right? That's another important aspect for me. And I want to directly find out whether there is a direct correlation of what I'm going to do is impacting my revenue or reducing my cost, end of the day, improving the shareholder value. That's what I'm after, yeah? For management people, shareholder value, yeah? Modigliani. So, now I looked at that. I know getting online, customers are saying it's easy, so that I don't have to handle calls, so they don't have to wait in the queue. Fantastic. I looked at the map. You can see it means customer experience improves, operating cost slightly high, but it gives you a lot of return. Commercially, it makes sense because it reduces the churn. Okay? I take that information like this. I plot by device, by age. You know, people with carbon phone are finding it very happy to do business with BT. Fantastic, I'll go and do more with them. You know, things like that. We got this done, and then we identified 6 principles. We said, okay, based on all this information, I did a Pareto chart. All of you know Pareto, I guess. Yeah, 80% of the problem. Exactly. So then we need to figure out what those are, so that I don't just mine all the information and just trying to make sense out of it, right? It's not going to make sense for me. Then I took 6 principles that are very, very important. I'm not going to go into the principles, but you get it as to what I'm trying to do here. I found out the attributes, I implemented the solution, and then I figured out if I abandon you guys continuously twice, it is difficult for you. You're going to rate me difficult. If I make you call me continuously 2 times for a single problem, you're going to say it's going to be difficult for you, for me to do business with you. I learned all this information. Now, based on this, I go back to my customer experience team and I tell them, you know why first call is important? First call resolution is because customers will find it difficult to do business with BT and hence they will churn away from us. Make sense? So everything had a single source, which is easiness. Yeah, so the whole organization we have now created with a single charter of making it easy. That is driving an organization towards a single vision. Yeah? Now, it can't be done by just contact center team, right? I need to go to the product team and say, you know what? Bugger, you've got a product which is a modem. The customer takes the modem, he takes 24 hours, he cannot fix it. And he calls me and yells at me. I'm not taking it anymore. You need to fix it easy. Make a simple chart, put it on the paper, put it on clearly on top of the modem, what exactly the customer needs to do. Step 1, step 2, step 3. It can't be more than that. If you make it more than 3, the customer is going to find it difficult. That's going to impact the overall score. We made these rules, and we made everybody responsible for making it easy for the organization to do business with. Okay? So as you can see, it's almost covering all of the organizational aspects. Operations, product team, support services, you name it, we've got it. Everybody is responsible for it. That's actually giving them employees responsible for a customer-centric situation. But let's park that for a minute and see what happened out of this. So we did this, and then we started plotting what's going on, right? And the C, L, and D. Okay, L, nobody did Tatu. Let me be clear on that. But the L also means the dissatisfaction going down, enhancing the amount of time they're going to stick with BT, right? Satisfaction going up, that means the customer finding it easy, started buying more from me because they're staying more with me. We found there is a direct relation to customers saying it is easy to do business with you, had more than 40% reduction in churn. That means they're sticking more with me, which is fantastic. Not only that, making things easy. Now, instead of asking an employee, let's make our brand promotable, give me ideas. We went and asked them, if I were to make something that is easier for you to handle customers, thereby that can make customers things easier for the customers, that would be great. Would you have some ideas to do that? Within a year, we had 1,000 ideas. Because they get it. Oh, I need to make myself life easier. Oh, customers are calling me, always shouting at me for this problem. If you take it out of me, I'm very happy. Not only that, they said to us, a lot of customers ask me for this particular thing, which is just costing 10 pounds, to give it to them. But you know what? You put me through a big process. By the time I go all the way down and come back, customer is dissatisfied already. Okay, give me empowerment. Tell me anything beyond 15 pounds, you go through this process, within 15 pounds, you take the decision, clear it with customer. Now you call as a customer, this is what I want. Sir, I'm sorry that it has happened to you. Here is what I have as a solution. I'll give you 15 pounds. I completely remit the value as an offset to the next bill. Wow, I didn't expect that. I'm so happy, right? So he moves on. So he continues to stay with BT. So that is very powerful information for us. So we basically made sure everybody gets the empowerment required. Everybody is customer-centric. They share the customer feelings, solve customer problems in the most efficient way possible. Now look what has happened because of this. This guy had told you that you can go and get this done. Now that process is not required anymore. I cut that process. Eliminating process means reducing cost. I did not go and ask this agent to get out and go home. Instead, I just used them more productively. And they're also more encouraged to work for me. Right? On the other side, I've actually reduced the processes required to do this stuff, eliminating the cost out of the business. That's more powerful. Now, friends, I've got to the end of it. So out of the 1,000 ideas, we implemented 375 of them. We have seen the production benefits that we saw. Okay? That's all about it. You know, make things easier for people, and hence you directly would see what you're doing in terms of creating the loyalty required. And so the customer stays more with you. Okay, now, I've told you all about customers. Now let's look at developers in this. How many of you want to be a developer? How many of you want to build linked list on your own? Making things difficult. There's already somebody who has spent so much time building a linked list template. You need to make it easier, right? Because after you finish it, you're going to give it away and go to another organization. That guy is going to muck around with this and say, what the hell this guy has written? You know? So making it easy means to everybody. You know, you can go and write a code which actually is more efficient for somebody else to understand. As a business analyst, you need to be thinking about how I'm going to make my documentation, my ideas, more easier for people to understand. How do I create a business analysis equation that actually makes things easier for my customer who is giving me the requirements? You know, it can be applied everywhere. So let's go out and make things easier. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. And by the way, I don't think you guys have questions here. Because there's food getting cold. Huh? Okay, so if you have questions, yeah, go ahead. See, it simply means two things. One, you have understood, or yeah, my 10-hour trip from Singapore is a waste of time for you, because I enjoyed it. Huh? It was easy to understand, that's correct. Okay, thank you very much.
Sir?
Oh, hey, you got a question.
So has BT been doing this analysis on their own? Because most of the telcos in India have not been doing this. You know, companies like Amdocs have been coming up with a lot of projects that they are working for the CSP. They are giving a model to CSP. So has BT been doing this on their own, or is this outsourced to some other company?
That's my job. My job, the reason I'm standing here is I'm not part of BT UK business. I learned this and I've created a framework. What you're seeing here is just a snapshot of what it can as a potentially unlock. My job is to actually create a framework and an ecosystem around it to actually apply this blueprint for multiple organizations. And the companies that you talked about are making it more complicated. So I need to actually now go to people and tell them, you know what, don't do that. Make it easy, man. That's what's important. Okay, so I will do that more and more. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such a captivating session. I now invite my colleague to felicitate sir with a memento as a token of our gratitude. I now request sir to please resume your seat amongst the audience. We now proceed for lunch and look forward for another session of the Communique'14 on the other side of this break. I would request the student representatives to accompany the guests to the dining area from the door on my right. We assemble back in auditorium sharp at 3:30 p.m. Students and student delegates are requested to be seated for a few more minutes.